Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Today we're going to be working on my Ficus benjamina. It's one of those two little leaf ones, the ones with the little tiny leaves. I don't know if you've seen this tree on any videos before. I've had it for a long time and it wasn't one of my more favorite trees. This tree had one of the most horrible root systems I've ever seen on a ficus. These ficus two littles, they tend to get those great big bulbous potato roots. Great big root system and a little skinny trunk, I found. And so they're not a favorite variety of mine, even though the leaves are nice and small, but the roots just seem to get out of control. So I did a lot of root work on this tree. I took off a lot of those big potato roots, and I didn't really expect the tree to survive because I reduced the roots so much. You can see here I took out some big giant root that was sticking up, and I did the best root work I could on the tree, and somehow the tree survived, and now it's starting to look better. I took it in a step in the right direction, but I'm still not there. You can see this root kind of recovered, and it grew a big fat root down here. So they tend not to get the fine roots. They tend to grow into these big, thick, tubular roots. Maybe, root work more often would cure the problem, but a difficult tree to grow is a bonsai just because you're always balancing vigor with pruning, and I find them a difficult species to grow. I think most of my problem with growing this tree might be just trying to grow it in Canada. Our summers are short, so the tree can only go outside for 3 months of the summer. Unless it's in a greenhouse, I can extend that to 5 months. And the rest of the time it's indoors. So using natural light, it doesn't get enough light in the winter. So you have to supplement it with artificial light. So I haven't done that yet much. So I think that would help this tree a lot to have like a grow light right above it. It would certainly help. Today I'll do what work I can on the tree, cleaning it up. I think I need to find a new front. I'm thinking somewhere in this area looks the best. It's got a nice, well, not a nice root base, but the root base looks the nicest from this kind of a view. Possibly, maybe even over here. But I'll clean it up and prune it up and see what we can make of this tree eventually. It is a little neglected because it's not one of my favorite trees, but who knows? Maybe someday it will become one of my favorite trees. You never know. I'll start the work today by cleaning the tree up, getting rid of all the dead leaves that have fallen off. There's a lot of spider webs in here, and I was checking. It's not spider mites. I've seen fairly large spiders crawling around in the branches. So again, I'll try and leave them on if I can. I imagine I'll be pruning a lot of the branches that the spider webs are attached to off, but we'll see if we can leave the spiders on the tree. So I'll just pick up all the leaves that have fallen off. I'll get all the dead foliage that's in here taken out, and then we'll come back and start the pruning. You might notice that it's a little dark out today. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's just a cloudy day outside. And this is as much light as I can get in the plant room without using artificial lighting. So the video might be a little on the dark side, but I'll see what I can do. I went on a massive, almost a 4-hour walk this morning. It was a good walk. I certainly had an appetite when I got back. So I'm starting a little late on the video than I normally do in the day. Normally I start around 10 or 11 in the morning. It usually takes me right to mid-afternoon or later to finish the video, depending on how much work I'm doing on the trees. And then it usually takes a couple hours to edit. Then you have to process the video, which usually takes about an hour. And you have to review the video, which, if it's a half-hour video, it takes a half an hour to review it. And then you post the video, and then I do my premiere, my live premiere, and That usually takes me right into the evening. So, yeah, each video almost takes a full day. But I enjoy it. I really enjoy it. It's fun. And I'm hoping by making a video every day that I'll get all my trees in good shape for spring. That they'll all be pruned up and ready to grow. Last year I ran out of time, and almost every year I run out of time. Spring comes too early. I'm not prepared. So I'm hoping this year I get all the tree work done. When spring comes, I can do my repotting. The repotting season in spring is usually, it comes quite quickly. You know, we have cold weather, and then it kind of warms up in spring, and that's the time to repot when the trees start to become active. So you get, you know, sometimes 2-3 weeks max. And yeah, so you have to have things pretty organized by then. You have to have pots picked out, have your soil mixed up. And if I'm making videos, you know, it takes 2 to 3 times longer than if you just did it by yourself without videotaping it or digitally videoing it. So yeah, this year I'm hoping, you know, everything's ready for spring. I try and get my soil mixed up. I'll try and get my tools all sharpened. I'm way behind in my tool sharpening. They're all all need some work and cleaning up. But yeah, most of the Ficus benjaminas are pretty, they need high light to really thrive. A lot of ficuses will tolerate low light, but if you want them to really grow with vigor, you need good light on them. I think once I get more grow lights in this room, the trees will do better in winter. Okay. I've got my ficus too little all cleaned up, and it's looking much better. There's quite a few dead branches in here I'll have to clean out. But I'm just looking at the tree, trying to envision a style for it. It's got a lot of these swooping branches that kind of come down and then back up, and I kind of like that. It's quite neat. So I think the main problem with it right now is it's much too high. I think it needs to be reduced down in height. So I'll try and do that. I'll do that first, is trying to reduce the height of the tree. Trying to keep, you know, always keeping some of the green foliage on the branch, because these Ficus benjaminas don't like being hard pruned. They're more like a, you know, a pine tree or a coniferous tree where they like to have a bit of green at the tip of each branch. Otherwise, the branches may die back. So I'll get out the pruners and let's start pruning it down. So I'll start at the bottom. I've got a branch here, and I don't know if I'll keep this branch, but I'm going to prune it up for now. There's a dead part of it I can prune off there. I can reduce it. It's sticking up vertically here. I'll take the vertical part off, so like that. And then I'll reduce the branch back to some green foliage here, here, and back to here. So that's got the height of that branch down quite a bit. It looks quite nice now. I'll just take this yellow leaf off too, like that. Now I've got a branch out the back here, this one right here. Same thing, I can reduce it back to here, taking the vertical part off. And then I've got this little branch, and I can prune the tip off here. I've got a branch going towards the inside, going towards the center of the tree. I'll take that out. And that's got that branch pruned up. Just cleaning up some of the dead branches down here, like that. Okay, I've got this big branch coming up here. There's a spider. So I'll take it splits into a Y here, and this Y is going in towards the center of the tree, so I'll take that out. So right off there. Higher up it splits into another Y, and I'll take a dead branch off the back. I'm trying to decide, do I want to keep that Y or just keep one branch? There's another dead branch here I can take off. Yeah, I've got to decide about this division here. Again, I don't know if I'll even keep that branch. If I might prune all these lower branches away. If this was the front of the tree, which has the nicest view of the roots, I'll show you a better view of the tree. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. I'll keep it for now. I'll keep my divisions and see if I can just reduce the height down. I may get rid of it entirely. It's kind of takes away from the roots and the trunk. I think I've got to get rid of it. Originally, when I was thinking of the style of this tree, I wanted it very graceful, kind of flowing up to the canopy like I usually do with my ficus trees. So I never really envisioned branches coming off down low. And generally, it tends to make the tree kind of look more bush-like rather than a tree. You know, you usually picture a tree with a big, powerful trunk on it, not all kinds of branches coming off down low. However, it does look quite natural. I kind of like these different staggers. I think if this was shorter, you know, if a sub-branch down here, it would look quite good, but I can't lower it anymore. I mean, I can take the top off and maybe it'll back bud down here. And then I can shorten it in future. That may be the solution. If I prune it off now, because I've let it grow so long, it's got quite a big thick branch there, and I'm going to end up with a big scar there. So that may not be very desirable either. So I think I'll do that. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to just also keep these lowest branches because, you know, maybe someday in the future I could take that vertical one off and develop these lower ones more horizontally down here. Possibility. So I'll just reduce these upper ones back as far as I can for today, and maybe I'll get some back budding. So there's the top off. And I'll take it off here. Now, quite a heavy reduction. So generally, that usually stimulates back budding on a ficus if it's vigorous. Take the tops off here. Take that third branch out of there. Like that, and reduce this down and this back. So I've taken that branch, you know, back as far as I can. And we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll get some shoots coming out. There were some in the past down here. Keep my options open. Keep my options open is what I'm trying to say. There's a branch going towards the inside here. I'll remove that. Okay, so I want to do the same with this branch. I'll just break the dead branch off there. I'll reduce the top down to here, to a living branch down there. Actually, I could take it right back to this one, even better. And I'll take the top off this one. Again, back to a nice healthy living branch. Take the top off that. Reduce these branches back. Better leave that one. Oh, I'm going to take out that center one. Like that. So that branch is reduced as far as I can get it. There's a dead branch here I'll take off. Now I'm going to do this branch, see if I can reduce it back any. Dead part here I can remove. Cut the branch back. And there's a dead part here I can remove, like that. That takes that branch back. Now I can do this one. I can reduce it way back here. I think I'll just do it to here. There's the sirens. I've got a dead part growing up here, and quite possibly, yeah, it's just brittle and breaks off. I don't know what's alive in this stump here. It looks like most of it's living tissue. Let's take the dead part off, see what happens in that area. You can always reduce it back in the future. There's a dead stump here from a previous pruning. I'll take that off. Like that. I've got a branch here. I've got a dead part on this branch. I've got a part going up the middle I'll take out. I'll reduce this branch back. Dead part here. Rest is okay. I've got a branch here. Again, I'll reduce it. I'll take this part off. The big tall vertical part. I'll reduce this vertical branch down. And I'll take the top off here. And reduce it back. So I don't know, today's not really much of a styling as more of a reducing the tree back as far as I can. There's a stump here from previous prunings that I'm going to reduce back to a nice branch, so I'll come in here and move the top off there. I've got two branches growing beside each other here. I'll take one of them off. And again here, I'll take the, I'm going to take this one off. It's a little nicer looking, the other one. There's a little shoot here I'm going to remove. One on the inside here I'll remove. Just kind of cleaning up the interior of the tree a little bit. Another dead leaf there. Another dead branch here. Take that out. I'm going to take this one off too. Like that. I am going to take this one off here. It's duplicate branch there, one on top of each other. One growing towards the inside here I'll get rid of. Dead one here. Yeah, get rid of that. Bit of clean up here. I hope it's not getting too dark for the video. There's a couple of branches growing up here, just sticking straight up. I'm going to get rid of those. So I would say that's got a lot of the basic structure kind of pruned back. And now I've got to step back and look at the tree and make some decisions. You know, the front, what I want to do with the tree. Yeah, so let's have a look at it now. I'm looking at the tree now from the front, and if that's the front of the tree, that branch here is kind of coming up on the inside of the curve of the trunk. There's a nice line from the roots flowing up to the top of the tree, so I think I would get rid of that branch. I would rather a big scar there. I mean, there's scars all over the roots anyway. Than have that vertical branch kind of distracting your eye there. So now let's see if there's a better front. think somewhere here would be the only other possibility for a front, and it's not as nice, definitely not as nice as the other view. Yeah, that definitely has to be the front in this view. It's got the nicest root base. The tree's got a nice curve to the trunk. It flows, you know, that line flowing up the trunk is just beautiful. So I'm going to remove that vertical branch. And here I go. I'm going to come in with the branch pruners. And it's going to be a fairly big cut. Well, here I go. Just like that. And then I don't think we want that little one, but I'm going to check it in the front view first before I make any decisions on that. I'm just cleaning this cut up, getting it slightly concave so it heals nicely. There, I think that's pretty good. That's not bad. All right, let's have a look at that other branch. Definitely would look better without that other branch there. It interrupts that nice flow line from the roots up the trunk. So off it comes. Here I go. Just like that. Okay, let's have a look at it now. All right, I'm looking at the tree, and now I have to decide about that lowest branch down here. Would it look better with it or without it? And that is a good question. I'll cover it up with my finger. I think, again, that kind of interrupts your eye going up the trunk from the root base, so I think it would look better without it. So off it comes. Just like that. I've made two cuts here, and I'm thinking, should I carve it out? Right now it kind of interrupts that flow line. Should I carve it out more? I think I should. Let's go in and take a bigger chunk out. Like that. I just feel it'll heal over a little better and smoother if I take a larger cut now rather than getting a big lumpy wound there. Like that. So a big wound there, but I think from this view, once that begins to heal, it'll look quite nice. Let's go up the tree now. So from this view, I've got a few branches down low that are coming straight towards the viewer. You know, maybe not this one, but definitely this one. And it's also on a kind of an ugly stump that crosses in front of all the other branches. So I'm going to take this whole stump off. So let's do that. Like that. I think a little more cleanup work. That, and I'll even take a bit off there. So quite a big cut there, but definitely cleans that area up a bit, especially kind of in this view, which should be the front. I should mark the front. All right, I'm going to mark the front of the tree now. Oh, that's pretty nice right there. So that will be my new front. I got a little loop of wire in there to mark it. So I'll show you the front. I think there is the front. So I think that's quite a nice front. It shows the structure off really nicely. Now there is a problem, and that's this branch here comes straight out towards you. That is not so nice. So I'm going to get rid of that. So here I go. Get in there. There. That's gone. A little bulbous looking in this area, but who knows? Maybe as this grows, get some branches, maybe it'll look a little more flowing. So I'm going to continue going up the tree now. I've got, if this is the front, right here, I've got a lot of branches kind of coming in towards the center of the tree, so they kind of grow in instead of kind of fanning out gracefully. So I'm going to take this one off. It's poking right out at you, like that. And then at the top of this branch, I have one on the inside here. I'll get rid of that. Like that. So you can see now from the front, it's fanning out a lot nicer, that branch. I'll get rid of this one in here that's kind of, again, growing in towards the center of the tree. Bit of cleanup work. There's my spider in action there. There's a branch here that's kind of crossing the one behind. I'm going to, see this one here? I'm going to get rid of that too. Doesn't need to be there. Like that. I think I've got to change my front slightly. See these two branches? If I, in the one view, they're kind of one in front of each other. So if I rotate the front just slightly, you can see it looks more, you can see both branches. So I think I'll do that. Just rotate my front just slightly more this way. Yeah. More like to here. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, about there. So that's a little better. Anything else bugging me? The apex bugs me. It's just pruned off here, a blunt cut. So I got to clean that up. So I will come in with my branch pruners and try and clean that up on the angle. Like that. I got two parallel branches here. I'm going to take off one of them. Like that. And I think that's about it for now. I could take off this one and just keep my shorter one. I'll do that. Like that. And at the back here, I could reduce this tall one at the back down to a branch here. I will just have to relocate that spider though. Come here, little fella. Come on. He's on my pruners now. Put him onto this. There he is. He's hanging down. There. He's attached to this branch now. So I can prune this one back. So here I go. Just like that. There's a tall one at the back here I can reduce down too. There's a spider there too, so I'll have to keep the spider and take the top of the branch off. And then there's one back here that's kind of crossing funny that I'll remove. I'm looking at the tree from the front now, and I'm liking it a lot more. I wouldn't say it's, you know, the most beautiful ficus I've ever seen in the world, but I can see some potential in it now, and that's kind of exciting because this tree never had any potential. It was, that root base on it was just horrendous. Really horrendous, like, yeah. But now I can see it's got a bit of a style to it. It can grow and mature, and Yeah. So I'll have to repot that. I'm not going to do it today. I'm saving all the repotting for probably the tropicals will get done kind of late spring, even early summer, kind of around that time frame. So once they've adapted to the outdoors, then I can repot them, keep them in the full sun, and the warm weather will help them recover really quickly. So that's when I'll do it. But yeah, I taking a final look at the tree. I'm actually liking it. It's even the roots look good from this view. So that's, yeah, there's a pruning. It's come from a tree I really did not like at all to something I think I could get quite fond of this tree. And as I said, if I keep it under artificial lights in the winter, I think it'll do a lot better than relying on the gray, dark winter outside. I've had this tree for about 20 years now, and I've never ever liked it. I always thought, well, it does have some potential. I mean, it's short and has some branch structure, but I never really, I guess it was those roots that were stopping me. And, you know, I did a lot of root work on it. It survived and it grew in and the roots thickened up and the scars healed over. And so it became, the tree became something a lot better. It had potential then, and now pruning up the upper canopy and branches today, I can see more potential in it. So it just goes to show that, you know, over time, maybe you've given up on a tree that you don't think it'll ever amount to anything. Give it time and work on it, and eventually it may turn into something that's just fantastic. So I guess that's the moral of the story today, is give your ugliest trees a bit of time and a bit of work, and maybe they'll turn from an ugly duckling into a beautiful swan. And that's all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.